After the success of the first two Godzilla films, Toho decided that they would make more movies featuring giant monsters. In 1956, they released Rodan, known in Japan as Rodan, Giant Monster of the Sky. The film was rather successful upon its release in the U.S., gaining the biggest TV advertisement for a film at that point in time, and several theater circuits reported that it set records for a science fiction film, including RKO, the studio behind King Kong and Citizen Kane. Like most of the early films in the genre, the movie was edited before its release, with music being changed, narration added to most of the film, additional scenes, and of course, some that were taken out altogether. An interesting fact about this movie is that George Takei, Sulu from Star Trek, did work on the film as a voice actor, also having worked on Godzilla Raids Again. The story centers around a small mining village who, after a series of murders, come across a large prehistoric dragonfly larvae called Meganulon. But things turn from bad to worse when they find that the larva is just food for two recently hatched giant pteranodon, dubbed Rodan. The Rodan set themselves loose upon the world and begin terrorizing plains and cities. For the most part, the film doesn't try for anything groundbreaking with its plot. It's really just some basic monster stuff. Early on, there's some shoehorned comments about global warming, but they aren't touched on again for the rest of the film. Another side note is that the Meganulon would appear again as a villain in Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. The effects in the movie are pretty well done. I like the miniatures. They're detailed and look nice in color. Towards the end of the movie, where Rodan is tearing things up, you get plenty of time to enjoy them. It's some good stuff. The giant larvae look pretty hokey, and the noise they make is silly, but the comedic factor, intentional or not, makes up for it. Like a lot of Toho films, Akira Ifukube comes back to do the score. His work is always good to hear, but I will say that there isn't any music in the movie that really stood out to me. Rodan is a decent film. It doesn't particularly do anything fresh for the genre, but it doesn't fail to entertain either. The monster is cool and the destruction is good, and it at least has that working for it. The titular monster would of course go on to be a mainstay in the Godzilla series, appearing in multiple films for the duration of the franchise. It's even scheduled to appear in the sequel to Legendary Pictures' Godzilla, alongside Mothra and King Ghidorah. I like this movie. It doesn't have a lot of the impact of the original Godzilla, but it fits in well with the better monster films of the time. I say give it a watch.